You walk into the grocery store already doing the math in your head. It's a subconscious habit. You've bought these same items dozens, maybe hundreds of times. You know roughly what the total should be. You know the weight of the bags. You know the rhythm of the aisles. Nothing looks different. Same brands. Same sizes. Same cart with that one squeaky wheel. Then, the number appears at the checkout screen. And for a moment, you hesitate. Because it's higher than your brain expected. Not dramatically higher, not a shock that makes you call the manager, just enough to feel wrong. You didn't buy more. You didn't switch to premium products. And if you look closely, many of the price tags on the shelves didn't even change. Yet somehow, your money went less far than it did last month. There wasn't an announcement. No company publicly raised the price of that specific item in the news. And still, you paid more. The common explanation we give ourselves is simple. Companies raise prices when they want to make more money. We call it greed. We call it corporate strategy. If the number on the tag didn't go up, then we assume nothing really changed. That sounds reasonable. But it assumes something very specific about how our world works. It assumes price is a single decision. That somewhere in a high-rise office, someone just decides to push a red button and bump the number up. Company decides. Price goes up. But the system doesn't work like a control panel. It works more like an ecosystem. An ecosystem of invisible, compounding pressures. Look at what happens when the constraints shift. Just a little bit. Shipping costs rise by a fraction. Borrowing money becomes slightly more expensive for the wholesaler. Suppliers deal with minor, nagging delays. Businesses start holding more inventory just to avoid running out. Insurance premiums climb. Payment terms tighten. None of these changes on their own seem dramatic enough to justify a visible price hike on a box of cereal. But they don't happen alone. They stack. They lean on each other. And when people's buying power and the actual availability of goods start drifting out of sync, the system has to adjust. Not necessarily on the price tag, but somewhere. Companies have a basic, primal goal: protect their margins and keep operations predictable. Not out of abstract greed, but out of survival. When indirect costs become volatile, the priority shifts. It's no longer just about producing efficiently and expanding. It becomes about managing risk, cash flow, liquidity, resilience. That shift changes the invisible metric guiding every decision. Before, optimization meant producing cheaper and growing faster. Now, optimization often means absorbing shocks without breaking. And when that metric changes, the adjustment spreads out like a leak in a dam. Sometimes it shows up in quantity. Same package, but a little less inside. We've all seen it. The air in the bag grows while the product shrinks. Sometimes it's in quality. Same brand, but slightly different, cheaper ingredients. Sometimes it's in credit. Fewer installment options. Lower limits. Shorter payment windows that squeeze your monthly cash. Sometimes it shows up in fees. Delivery that used to be free now costs extra. Services that were once included are now add-ons. None of these by themselves look like a straightforward price increase. But together, they change what you can actually afford. They change the yield of your paycheck. Most people want to maintain their lifestyle. We want our budgets to stay predictable. But wages usually adjust more slowly than these scattered, hidden costs. At first the gap feels small. A minor annoyance. Then, it spreads. Middlemen with thin margins face a brutal choice: absorb the pressure and go bust, or pass it along. Everyone is operating in the same cost environment. No one wants to be the first to raise sticker prices and scare you away. But everyone has to stay afloat under the same rising tide. So the system does something subtler. It redistributes the cost. Quietly. What looks like companies charging more often functions as something else entirely. A system recalibrating under constraint. Real buying power isn't just about the number on your paycheck. It's about what that income can actually access in the real world. When supply conditions tighten, when capital becomes more expensive, when supply chains grow more fragile, the system adjusts across multiple layers at once. You feel like you're paying more. Even if no one officially said prices went up. Because price isn't just the number on the tag. It's the final outcome of an entire chain trying to stay stable under new invisible pressures. At the beginning it seems simple. Companies decide to raise prices. But what's actually happening is a reorganization of reality. No single company is steering it. It's not a button being pushed. It's an ecosystem trying to find a new equilibrium. And when an ecosystem recalibrates, what changes isn't just the visible number. It's the truth of how far your money and your effort can really go.